This is our first debate of the 2014-15 school year, and this is a group from Mr. Craig's class, and they are debating the resolution that tablets should replace textbooks. Let's hear from the affirmative team.
We, the affirmative team, believe in the resolution that tablets should replace textbooks for the following 8 reasons. Our first argument is that tablets can always get up-to-date info. This is true since textbooks don't always have the latest info. We read an article by Rob Clint that says electronic textbooks on tablets can be updated quickly and efficiently. Students can always have the latest versions of textbooks. This is important because some info may be out of date in a textbook, or new studies have changed the information, so that's why you should agree with us. Our next argument is that tablets are much lighter than textbooks. This is true because textbooks are generally somewhat heavy. Tablets are now innovated to seem very light. We read an article by procon.org, which is a reliable source for both pros and cons. This article supports this argument because it says pediatricians and chiropractors recommend that students carry less than 15% of their weight in a backpack, but the combined average weight of textbooks in history, mathematics, science, and reading language arts exceeds the percentage at nearly all grade levels from 1 to 12. So that's why you should agree with us. Our next argument is that with tablets you don't have to keep buying new textbooks and can update them for free. Nothing beats the price of free. Textbooks are usually 7 to 10 years old from when they arrive, and they stay there for another 7 to 10 years. A lot can happen in 7 to 10 years. One thing is frozen. That was a mistake. Our source for this was procon.org. This is a credible source because procon.org is a credible source and trusted source for everyone's opinion. It is also a reliable source for both affirmative and negative opinions. This is important because students can better understand things with new information, and students can have accurate and up-to-date projects. So that's why you should agree with us. Our next argument is that tablets are more efficient because you can send homework and projects to nearly any other electronic device. It may also help because if students are sick, teachers can send homework and projects to their sick students so they won't have to make up for late homework or projects. Also, it is important because students can have the same amount of time to work on the projects, whether being sick or on vacation. So students won't have an excuse for late work, knowing that they have the same time to work. Our source is procon.org. Again, this site is a trusted source for all opinions on the subject. This is important because students who may not be able to work in each other's homes can also share projects. And other students may again be sick or on vacation. So that's why you should agree with us. Our next argument is that tablets are fun. This is true because most kids are more inclined to use things they can interact with. Our source is the people in general. This is important because the modern people are more into screen time, and the kids should also have a say in what they use to learn with and how. After all, it's their education. That's why you should agree with us. Our next argument is that tablets are better according to a commenter on debate.org. Debate.org is a credible source for both positive and negative opinions, like procon.org. Directly quoting the commenter, this commenter says, tablets are far superior to textbooks in every possible way. Textbooks in this day of age are completely obsolete and unneeded. With tablets, you can get all the information you need much quicker and easier. Tablets also do not hurt the environment as much because we do not need to cut down trees to make them. This is important because people should have a say in how the future generations learn. Also, would you really want to run out of oxygen? No. So that's why you should agree with us. Our last argument is that tablets can be personalized to a student's needs. Some students might need easier versions of the text in order to understand what they read. Tablets also offer this to certain students. Also, some tablets offer special settings for kids with disabilities such as dyslexia. Others might want harder reading in the text. Also, teachers can put educational apps in it so students can learn even more. I don't think you can put apps on a textbook. They also have restrictions in the settings so teachers can ensure that students stay off bad things with the school property. Also, the teachers can disable things they don't want their students getting into. Our source is onlineeducationdegrees.org. This is a good source because it helps people get online college degrees and how people can and possibly should learn. This is important because teachers can ensure the right level of reading for their students and keep them safe at the same time. They can also ensure that their students understand what they are reading and what they should be learning. So that's why you should agree with us. We are the affirmative team. In conclusion, we have found that tablets should replace textbooks because they are able to fetch up-to-date info, they are much lighter, they are long-lasting, they are more efficient, they are fun and can make learning easier and more entertaining, better according to a commenter on a trusted site. Even though the commenter is only one person, their opinion matters in the future of education too. Another reason why tablets should replace textbooks is that they can be personalized to any student needs. We think that tablets are awesome, as do most children. The future of education is nearing, and chances are that tablets will eventually sweep the ways of learning in a whole new direction.
Okay, the negative team.
We, the negative team, do not believe in the resolution that tablets should replace textbooks for the following reasons. Our first argument is that tablets do not have enough battery life. This is true because the average battery life is 7.26 hours, which is shorter than the length of a school day. We read an article by procon.org, a site used by many debate topic researchers. This supports my argument because it says tablets constantly need charging, increasing electricity demands on schools and the need for new electricity outlets. This is important because kids will not be able to learn at certain times, because they'll be waiting for the tablets to charge. Textbooks don't need to be charged. Our second argument is that tablets cause too many health problems. This is true because staring at screen causes eye strain, headaches, and blurred vision. A report by the American Optometric Association suggests that students who use tablets may be increased risk of computer vision syndrome, carpal tunnel syndrome, plus neck and shoulder pains. You should care about this happening because these injuries could cause quite a bit of money to fix. Our third argument is tablets cost a lot of money to fix and can be easily broken. This is true because tablets could slip out of your hands while you're doing the simplest task. For example, while you're walking down the hall, somebody could bump into you. The slippery tablet could easily fall out of your hands and break. We read an article by Epidemic that says during just their trial period, between 5 and 7% of the tablets broke. This is important because tablets cost a lot of money to fix and replace. This is yet another reason parents and teachers do not prefer tablets. Our fourth argument is tablets have many distractions. This is true because kids will be tempted to play games and surf the web instead of focusing on learning. We read a story by Online Education Degrees that states, using a tablet in class can invite digital distractions as students may be tempted to surf the web, check email, chat on social media, or play online games instead of focusing on classwork. This is bad because your schoolwork might become homework. You would have less time to play with your friends and do what you want to do. Our fifth argument is schools don't have a strong enough network to support all the kids on the same work. This is true because if all students are assigned to do the same piece of work, the website would most likely take a very long time to load. This will waste your time to work and might become extra homework. One time in class, we had to research on Britannica, but everybody was on. The site was slow and only a small amount of people could be researching. This is an issue because you might not be able to get all your work done and therefore have extra homework. Our sixth argument is that tablets are expensive. In order to use tablets at school, you have to purchase the tablets themselves, textbooks on the tablet, a new Wi-Fi infrastructure, and train the teachers and administrators how to use the new technology. Lee Wilson, a prominent education marketing expert, estimated the annual cost per student per class with tablets is $71.55 versus $14.26 for print textbooks. This is important because it costs more money for everybody to work on their schoolwork when you already have a textbook instead. Our seventh argument is children comprehend more on print text than on digital text. This is true because brains process digital and print text differently. Usually you read digital text 20 to 30% slower than print text. We read an article by Puzzler Prize-winning technology writer Nicholas Carr. It said, peer-reviewed studies show that reading hyperlinked may increase the brain's cognitive load and lowering the ability to process, store, and retain information. This is important because kids would have a harder time remembering information from the text they just read. Their grades might suffer because they wouldn't know the information on their test. The children wouldn't get their schoolwork done as fast because of the way our brains process digital text. Our eighth argument is that manufacturing tablets threatens our environment and our human health. This is true because one tablet requires lots of fossil fuel, water, and minerals. However, textbooks produce 100 times fewer greenhouse gases. According to the New York Times, the adverse health impacts from making one e-reader are estimated to be 70 times greater than those from making a single textbook. One tablet requires the extraction of 33 pounds of minerals, 79 gallons of water, and 100 kilowatt hours of fossil fuel, resulting in 66 pounds of carbon dioxide. This is important because we don't want our environment to get polluted. Having these new tablets for school will ruin our environment. Our ninth argument is tablets increase the amount of excuses for students to not do their homework. This is true because kids could say they broke their tablet or just say they left it at home. We read an article by Procon.org which supports our argument and says students have new available excuses, including the tablet broke or froze, I forgot the tablet at home so I can't do schoolwork today, and I couldn't find my charger. This is bad because kids will find ways out of doing their schoolwork. The teachers wouldn't know if this was true, or the kid was simply too lazy to do their schoolwork. Our 10th argument is students don't have Wi-Fi to work on internet-based homework. This is true because 1 out of every 3 Americans does not have a significant internet connection. A 2010 FCC survey found out that nearly 80% of K-12 schools reported broadband connections that were inadequate to meet their current needs. This is crucial because kids might not be able to finish certain homework that uses the internet. In conclusion, we think textbooks are a wiser choice for schools. You don't have to worry about battery life, health problems, expensive damage, distractions, new stronger networks, expensive tablets, comprehending problems, home and Wi-Fi environment issues.
Okay, very nice, both teams. Now we're going to hear from the negative rebuttal.
I believe it was on your first argument, and you said that tablets are always up to date with all the information that you need. Well, in many subjects in school, you do not need up-to-date information, and like the information doesn't change. For example, in math, you still learn the same algorithms and stuff, and like how to do different types of problems, and how to solve things, and you don't need like current information on how to do that, because a lot of information hasn't changed. Then in history, also you learn about the same things because it's like historical and it's not current usually. So.
Anything else?
Oh, sorry. I was like wondering if
No, they don't get to rebuttal back.
Oh, okay. Well, you say you can you can use tablets for a while, but you can also reuse textbooks for the reasons that I just said, and tablets also break and get broken and stuff. And then you said that tablets don't hurt the environment, but even though textbooks use like trees and stuff, tablets use 33 pounds of minerals, 79 gallons of water, 100 kilowatt hours of fossil fuels, and 66 pounds of carbon dioxide, and that also hurts our environment. So yeah. I don't really have anything else.
Okay, very nice job. All right, let's hear from the affirmative rebuttal.
So, your first argument says that you don't have enough battery life. Well, it's called a charger, first of all. And also, tablets still work while they're on charge, so you could just keep it on charge the entire day, probably. I mean, yeah. You said that it costs a lot of money to fix. Well, not only do textbooks have fragile pages, like they can get torn apart easily, but you can't put a textbook in a case. Also, it takes forever to fix a textbook because, well, if you put like a textbook in a case, then the chances of it getting broken is kind of low. And also, if you drop a textbook, the pages can fall out, and the damage can also be permanent. And you said that tablets are expensive. It's worth it because the average amount of time to make a textbook is about 7 to 10 years, and then schools still have to buy the textbooks, and by then the information might already be obsolete. And you can get the same amount of information online on textbooks. And so you said the students have like excuses like if they forgot it or well, you can still download homework on the tablets, and you don't exactly have to leave the tablets at home. You can like leave it at school, but even if you do take it home and you do download the homework on it, you can still get it on paper, the homework. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all.
Let's give him a hand. Very nice job. Our second debate of the afternoon is also from Mr. Craig's class, and they are debating the resolution that homework should be abolished. We'll first hear from the affirmative team.
We, the affirmative team, believe in the resolution that homework should be abolished for the following 8 reasons. Our first argument is that homework should not be assigned because it causes anxiety and stress. This is true because the more homework you have, the more stress to get it done, especially in older grades, because that's where you get letter grades. As students, we know that homework is stressful and adds the negative energy directed towards school. On Credible's website SIRS, we have found that Amelia Copps, a parent of 4, said a friend of hers has a child going into 7th grade. The first year, he would have extreme homework assigned. She says, "This kid is nervous, he's making himself sick. It shouldn't be that way. Why do we have kids stressing over the fact that they have to do homework? This is important to know because you won't want stress piled onto students. As the homework pile grows bigger, so does the stress." Our second argument states that if students weren't stopped doing hours of homework, they could get a job, help the community, and a comedy, and etc. This is true because when you have homework needed to be done, it's nearly impossible to get a job due to the fact that you have school 6 hours a day and homework almost the rest. According to a 14-year-old girl, she is up sometimes until 2 a.m. in the morning doing homework, therefore not able to go out and get a job. This occurs with a lot of teenagers, according to the interviewed teenager, proving our argument that homework prevents students to get a job. This is important because with less homework, the more students could go out and get jobs, therefore improving the economy. Our third argument states that homework takes up too much time, not allowing students to have any time to themselves. This is true because between extracurricular activities and homework, there is absolutely no time for students to have for themselves. According to a fellow student, homework is time-consuming and takes away from their me time, proving our argument. This is bad because kids should have their own time to relax and reduce stress. Our fourth argument states that homework causes students to lose an interest in learning. This is true because homework puts an unwanted burden on students, therefore causing them to lose their interest in learning. We read an article about a high school teacher. This is a credible source because it was on SIRS and it was a teacher, so he had an inside view of what really happens with homework. "I was probably making about 5% of my kids excited about mathematics," he said. "Homework in his class seemed to bully the strong and discourage the weak. This is important because students should be excited about learning, and all students should have a fun experience in the classroom, not just the smart ones." Our fifth argument states that most students and teachers do not like homework. This is true because students would rather be doing their own things and not homework. According to some students in our class, homework is boring and frustrating at the same time. We don't like it at all. According to a middle school teacher, handing out homework makes him unpopular among the students. This is important because it proves that students and teachers dislike homework. That makes us question why there is no homework if it only may help us with our academic scores. Our sixth argument states that more suicides occur because of stress from homework. This is true because Mindful.org, a credible source, explains how there has been 17 specific suicides, partly because of the stress of homework. This is important because we can see that homework can negatively affect people mentally and physically, sometimes to the breaking point. Our seventh argument states that if kids have excessive homework, then they have less time to spend with their family.
This is true because according to a 15-year-old teenager we interviewed, along with some of her friends, homework has created tension between her parents and herself, not allowing a healthy relationship to form. She also said that sometimes when her family goes out for dinner or takes a small trip, she can't come, for she is stuck doing homework. She says, "I can't spend any time with my family anymore because of homework. I too believe homework should be abolished." This is important because it shows that homework can cause families to drift apart. Our eighth argument states that homework does not always help academic scores. This is true according to a 13-year-old teenager. She says, "My test scores are better than my homework scores. Because of my lower homework scores, my average grade for the subject has sunken due to the excessive amount of homework." This is also true because according to SIRS, David Martin, a high school teacher, had a typical amount of homework for the average high school student. The dropout failure rate for the class was around 40%. But after he decided to abolish homework, it lowered to a low average of 5%. This is important because it shows that homework doesn't always help students academically, but it does add depression and stress. In conclusion, we have found that homework takes away from family time, me time, and the ability to maintain a job. We've also found that homework causes stress, depression, and higher dropout/failure rate. We have also discovered that homework doesn't always appeal to students and teachers. So what's the need for homework? That's right, there's no need for homework. That is why we think homework should be abolished.
Very nice. All right, the negative team, you present your arguments.
We, the negative team, believe in the resolution that homework should not be abolished for the following 7 reasons. My first argument is homework will help students prepare for the big final test. This is true because homework gives kids practice with what they are currently working on. Remember, practice makes perfect. I read an article by teachknowledge.com, a credible source because it's a teacher source, which supports my argument because it says if a child does poorly on an assignment, then they will learn what is necessary to do on the next test without being punished with a bad score. This is important because it shows homework will help kids with practice on what they're working on and will help prepare them for the big end test. My second argument is that homework improves academic performance. This is true because homework helps students learn what they're working on so they can show better performance in school. I read an article by education.edu, a credible source because it's about education, which supports my argument because in the article, a Duke University professor named Harris Cooper says that across 5 studies, the average student who did homework had a higher unit test score than students not doing homework. Studies also show that doing homework improves standardized test scores. This is important because it shows that homework helps students learn which will improve the academic performance. My third argument is that homework helps students prepare for the future. This is true because then if kids do their homework in elementary school, it will prepare them for middle school, etc. I read an article by education.com, a credible source because it's about education. It supports my argument because it explains how homework prepares students for middle school, high school, and college. This is important because it shows that if students do homework, it will help them in the future, like in high school and college. My fourth argument is homework helps bring students closer to their peers, teachers, and families. This is true because students will discuss their assignments or ask for help when they're unsure about answers on their work with people they know. I read an article also by teachknowledge.com that says that homework brings teachers and families together when kids ask for help with their work. This is important because good connections with family and friends will have a good effect on you later in life. My fifth argument is homework helps develop responsibility. This is true because being assigned work one day and knowing it will be due the next helps develop a sense of punctuality. I read an article by, once again, teachknowledge.com that says doing homework is a great way to develop responsibilities. This is important for the future when you need to get something done or be somewhere at a certain time. My sixth argument is homework helps students build perseverance and self-esteem. This is true because turning in your homework or getting a good score on a test will help you build confidence in your skills. The next time you will have to do something like that, you will know what you can accomplish. You will know that you can accomplish the task. I read an article by Glenda Faye Pryor Johnson who says that when your child does homework, you do homework, which supports my argument because it shows that children will model good behavior from their parents. Having perseverance and self-esteem is important because you can use these skills to accomplish difficult tasks in the future. My seventh argument is that homework helps students review what they learn in class.
This is true because when you do homework, it helps you remember the material that you learned that day. Jillian Bichelle, the director of academic services in Quaker Valley, says, "I think homework is a good time for kids to practice the skills they've learned in the classroom." This supports my argument because it shows that homework can help students remember and reinforce what they learned in class. This is important because knowing and remembering what you learned in class will help you with your grades in the future. In conclusion, having homework is a key factor in success as a student. It helps you remember what you learned during school, and it helps you build perseverance and self-esteem. Homework will also prepare students for the future in the big final test, while also improving their academic performance. It even brings you closer to your peers and teachers. One last thing it does is develop responsibility and punctuality. You may think homework is a pain, but without it, you will not be successful in life or in school.
Very nice. All right, let's have the negative rebuttal.
I think this was your first argument. Stress and homework is a pile of homework is built because of procrastination and not actually trying to finish it at the right time. Also, homework can also bring families and people together because they can discuss and talk about their homework.
Okay. Is that it?
Sure.
Okay. Malika?
Some people say that homework prepares them for the real life, but really, kids are getting so much homework they have little social life, honestly.
And that's important.
I read a study on stories that stated that a child said, most people have no social life.
Stop laughing. You're not supposed to laugh.
Because of all the homework they do. How is that helping them in the real world? Even though we've already stated this in our argument, we will state it again. Homework does not always help academically. This is true according to Mr. Shula at Northwest Junior High. He says that homework is a complete waste of time. I've never seen any improvement within my students when I give out homework, and now that I don't, they seem more interested in learning, knowing that they won't have to go to school again after school to get my homework. The Big N test won't fully make up for the drop of the grade that homework has caused. I heard you say that it may help them academically with middle school. And I just was like laughing in my head because that's what we also said. So there's a higher percentage of families drifting instead of coming together, and I don't know how you could explain the hours of homework they're locked in their room trying to finish up their homework. And by the way, homework adds stress and depression more than self-esteem, because it may feel like they're stupid if they come across a problem that they don't know. Yeah. Education.edu. How is it credible if it's just about education? Also, like you already went over the material in school. Why do you need to go over it again? I mean, though it may help them, not always helping them, because if you try to balance out the stress, we've already seen so many graphs about how this is the level of stress and this is the level of improvement. Look at the difference. You've been to school like all day, and like you come home like, yeah, I'm gonna watch TV now, but then you're stuck doing all this stupid homework and you're like, I hate you, school, I hate you. Like, how is this helping you? You want to hate school. You want to like take a knife and stab it in the back. It's terrible. It's ruining me, honestly. Okay, that's all I got.
Thank you. Malika, would you look at me, because I had you from the side the whole time. I couldn't get your beautiful face. All of your beautiful faces. Okay, let's give them a hand.
This is Malika's sassiness level. This is where everybody else's is. See the difference?
No.
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.